Good afternoon everyone, and thanks for joining the live video. So why did I decide to make these videos, the 7 C's to bring your ideas to life? Well, over the past 2 years I've organized a couple of events that were quite groundbreaking. The first one being the launch of the book 40 Things I Learned by 40, which just followed a journey that I took in my 40 years and the things that I learned up till the age of 40, and I decided to put that in a book. And so I launched that book last year, 2017, and the feedback I got from the event was so amazing. People were like, I've never seen a book launch like that before. And it was an idea that, came to me, and I put that together and executed it. Also, just recently, a couple of weeks ago, we had the event Catalyst, which also was looking at a continuation of the journey of 40 Things I Learned by 40. And so I want to share with you 7 C's that helped me to take that idea, that concept of that book launch, and take it from an idea state to a place where it was actually a reality. And there are 7 C's that I've noticed that over the years that I have been using, and most people will use these 7 C's to substantiate their ideas or bring their ideas to life. And so I'm going to start off with the first C today, and that C is going to be communication. It's very important that we learn how to communicate our ideas. Now, in order for you to be able to communicate your idea has to be clear to you. So clarity needs to come into it. You need to be very clear about what that idea is. Apart from that, you must have some kind of confidence in your idea as well. And confidence is key. You must be confident in yourself, and you must be confident in the idea that you have. So it's so important to be clear and to be confident, and then to be convinced about your idea as well. So clarity, conviction, and confidence in that idea. So once that is all within you, and then you can begin to communicate. So clarity, confidence, and conviction about your idea is so important in order for you to be able to communicate it. If it's clear to you, if you're confident about it, and if you're convinced about it, then it's easier for you to be able to communicate that to others. So communicating the idea is very important and very key. I love to use biblical illustrations at times in trying to explain certain things. Number one, God had an idea. He wanted to create the world. And what was the first thing that he did? He spoke. He said, let there be light. So that was communication. So he was convinced, he was clear about what he wanted, and he spoke it, he communicated it. And it's important that we learn to communicate our ideas. If we take another example, Joseph as well, we all know the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors, and the dreams that he had, and and the jealousies from his brothers, and all of that. But something that's very key about Joseph was he knew how to communicate his dream with clarity, with confidence, and with conviction. Can you imagine him going up to his parents and telling them that, I saw the sun and moon bowing down to me? In other words, saying, Mom, Dad, you're going to be bowing down to me. You're going to, I'm going to be the king. So there was some kind of level of confidence in what he was saying. The thing about communicating your ideas clearly is that after you have communicated your idea, you would get 2 kind of responses. Number one, there will be people who would who will be very upset with you and think you're crazy, and then there'll be others who will be like, intrigued by the idea that you have given. And if you don't have people that hate you for your idea, or people that think you're crazy for your idea, or people that are intrigued by your idea, then I don't think that you have actually communicated that idea properly. Because once you communicate a good idea, it's going to live on in the hearts of people. And sometimes, when you communicate ideas that you never do anything about, you find out that years later somebody will come up to you and say, oh, what of that, your crazy idea? So you could see that, you communicated that properly because it still resonated with the person that you told it to. So in terms of communication, I learned 3 things in terms of communicating, and just doing a lot of research and reading around communication. And they say that every communication has to have 3 elements in it. logos, ethos, and pathos. And I think that was one of these philosophers. I think it was Socrates or someone like that that came up with that. And when he talks about logos, that just speaks of logic. So your idea has to be logical. And then when he talks about pathos, that talks about the passion with which you communicate that idea. So if your idea is just logic alone, people don't get excited by logic. But when they see that your idea makes you excited, there's some passion in there, then there's a tendency that it would excite them as well. And then the final one is ethos, which speaks of being ethical or integrity. So your idea has to be something that you believe in. It has to be something that you think will change the world. You think it will do something good. So those three elements are very important in communicating your idea. So it's important for us to do a lot of self-checking, background work, research, to be able to properly communicate our idea. And remember, when you communicate your idea properly, it's going to resonate with someone. You either get people that think you're crazy, or you're going to get people that think that you're brilliant, and they'll be intrigued by your idea. So coming back to the launch of 40 Things I Learned by 40, when I shared the idea with the team that was going to help me to execute that, they were like, wow, this is, we haven't seen this before. And everyone that worked on that project kept on saying that we were quite intrigued to work with you to see how it was all going to come together. And I'm so glad that, they were able to stick with me from the beginning to the end to pull off that event. If you're wondering, what's so great about the event, 40 Things I Learned by 40, I've put the link on this post to that whole event, so you can watch it if you never watched it, and just see that it was a book launch with a difference, and so many parts came into it. My project manager on the event kept on saying that, look, this wasn't an event, it was a major production, and that's what we were able to pull off in that event. So yeah, so the first C in getting your ideas to reality is, number one, communication. Communication is so important, and your communication has to be clear. It has to be, you have to be confident about it, and you have to be convinced about it. And remember, when you're communicating, you communicate with logic, that is the logos, with passion, that is pathos, and then with integrity or with a sense of being ethical with that idea, and that is ethos. So those three things are very important in terms of your communication. So I'll stop there today, and we shall pick this up again next week, when I'm going to share 2 more C's to help you to bring your ideas to reality. And if you like this video, just share it with other people. It's also going to be available on my YouTube channel later on. All right then, have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll catch up again with you soon.